Well, it's no secret that I have a deep love of books. Reading is my absolute favorite pastime and one that I also share with my kids. Now, when it comes to getting your kids to read, there's no time like the present. So here to help you inspire your kids, we've got today's parent, Sasha Emmons, with us right now. Sasha, I love this topic. I know you love this topic. We're both big readers, and I think, you know, sometimes parents find it difficult, especially right now in the era of digital technology, to get them into a good book.
Absolutely, and I really think that more than ever, reading is this healthy habit that we need to create in our kids. There are so many benefits to reading. It increases their vocabulary, it increases their empathy, it reduces stress for them, it improves their memory. And I really think now in this age of gadgets and notifications, just everything is creating a shorter attention span.
Yeah.
And so we really need that lean back, deep focus experience of reading, and our kids need it too. And it will help increase their focus and concentration.
It certainly will, and I think that we find that as adults. I mean, I find that as an adult. When I'm reading a book, for some reason, I'll get into it, and it'll be 45 minutes into it, and I'll think to myself, oh, I should check my phone. Why?
Yeah.
There's nothing on there that's earth-shattering. So I've got to pull myself back into the good story that I'm reading and sort of fight that urge to keep looking for a notification or another email. So that's really important for the kids. And I love that you mentioned empathy.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that, you know, those kinds of immersive experiences are so rare now.
Right.
And to really get into a story and to really relate to the character. I mean, books can be a gateway to understanding worlds that are so different than your own, understanding people that are so different than you are. I mean, think of all the connections that you've made over the years reading books and people that you've understood, times in history that you've understood. It's so important for our kids.
If you can't get out there and travel with your kids, you can travel in a book.
Absolutely.
All you need to do is go to a public library and you have access to that. So let's talk about how to actually make a habit of getting them reading, you know, all the time.
So you want to start early and often. I mean, I don't know, when your kids were little, you kind of feel a little bit silly with these board books because they really seem to be more interested in like putting them in their mouths than actually reading. But you are actually exposing them to words, which is really important. You're exposing them to the rhythm and sounds of language. And also you're creating a connection between the person that they love the most, mom and dad, and books. So, you know, you create that cozy, cuddle up experience, you associate books with it, and that's a lifetime association that they will have. Another thing, as your kids start to become interested in books, you want to go with what their interest is. So, you know, it might be monsters, it might be, we have a Malala book on the table, it might be potty humor, which is where we are in my house. So Captain Underpants is like a gateway book for many reluctant readers. Because it kind of meets them where they are. So you just want to go with whatever they're interested in. Another thing that's great, Captain Underpants is still another example of this, is graphic novels or comics.
Yes.
They're a great way for kids who are a little bit more reluctant to be able to read, because there's lots of pictures to kind of give them clues as to what's going on. Repetition is totally fine. We might be like, really? You want to read that book again? But they start to be able to anticipate the words. They feel like they can read, and that gives them the confidence to actually read. Another good habit to get into, you read yourself. I read myself too. It's good for our kids to see us reading.
Yes.
But also you want to make sure that you leave books all over the house. You know, steal that preschool teacher thing of kind of setting up an activity. Maybe the activity is a book. You have a stack of books at the breakfast table.
Yes.
So instead of, you know, turning on the TV or reaching for a screen, maybe they reach for a book instead.
Books are absolutely everywhere in our house, and sometimes it's annoying, but I think it's a great thing because you can always reach for one. And our rule is read the cereal box if you want to read the cereal box, but just make sure you get into the habit of reading. It's interesting. I remember when they were babies, and I thought, really, you should have books for them as babies? But there is an association they make with that, security. And even if they're eating the book, it's part of the routine of bedtime now.
It is, and it kind of calms them too.
Yes.
I mean, I read every night before bed. That's how I go to sleep. So it does kind of create this calming activity. It's just a great part of a bedtime routine.
I remember there was an expert that said, because I know one of your tips are don't force it. Like, don't be like, you're reading now. Right. Another parent said to me that if you just give them, turn off the technology and give them about 10 minutes. All it takes is like 10, 15 minutes. and they will start to switch their own gear if they can't have access to the technology, and hopefully the
Absolutely.
book will be the thing that they reach for.
And maybe one thing that you want to do is say, you know what, it's time to get into bed now, but I'm going to give you 15 minutes to read. It makes them feel a little cool and adult to stay up 15 minutes later, but you do really want to avoid a power struggle. You don't want reading to be this thing that they have to do.
Totally.
You want it to be something that they enjoy. So if you're finding there's a power struggle, back away a little bit, see if you can hook into one of their interests, and just keep reading with them if their own reading isn't happening yet. They'll get there.
Good stuff, Sasha. Really good advice there. I love it.